Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory is due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, following this truth on who to rule well. Peace and salutation to the 144,000, the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude. Until I say shalom. Coming to you back with another Led Through the Spirit. And I'm entitled this one, The Daily Routine that these people are used to is about to change instantly, because we see the daily lives of these Americans, these Babylonians, how they live without a care in the world, even though grocery prices are rising, rent prices are rising, inflation is at an all-time high, but yet these people are still going to work, rushing to work, consumed with all these distractions that Esau, Edom is pushing upon these people, all the psyops, and all these people are being taken by these distractions that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is sending out, because what they don't know, or even if they do, they choose to ignore it, is ultimately that Esau, Edom is about to collapse this system. That he's about to crash the dollar, he's about to crash the economy, and all hell is going to break loose. But yet, majority of these people here, in America, Babylon the Great, they have that mindset that life as it is going to continue on like this forever. And that simply is not the case, because all hell breaking loose is nothing but one event away. And we know that could be anything. It could be the collapse of the dollar. It could be the power grid being knocked off. It could be a mass, T attack that could lead to martial law. It could be anything, but this society is hanging on by a thread. It's very fragile, but yet these people are acting like nothing is happening. Like their wealth, so-called wealth, isn't being taken away. That squeeze is being put upon them. So ultimately, when that great destruction, when that great calamity comes upon these people, on the 2/3 of our people here in America, and on these heathens, because you even have these Edomites, these red-blooded Edomites, so-called white people, these doomsday preppers, even they're watching out. But ultimately, they're not going to be delivered because they're not an Israelite. And ultimately, even if they were Israelite and they were part of the 2/3, if they're not part of the elect, then ultimately they're going to perish as well. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. That's the point. All these people in the world, these 2/3 Jakes that are in the world, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and these heathens that are so used to the dainties, the comforts of America, Babylon the Great, they don't know what times they're in. They don't know the season that we're in. Evil days. We're in the time when all hell is about to break loose. But yet they're in darkness, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai didn't give the light upon the 2/3 of these Jakes to understand what times we're in. We're in the last days of the last days, but the elect, the hopeful elect, they know what times we're in. We know that all hell is about to break loose, and that things are about to change at the blink of an eye. But yet, majority of the people upon the planet Earth, they're going to be taken by these things because they're not watching out. They're not on the watchtower. They're not watching out for prophecy. They're not occupied with prophecy. They're occupied instead with the distractions that the world has to offer. So ultimately, when that calamity comes upon them, it's going to take them like a thief in the night. When Yahushua makes his grand return upon the planet Earth, all these people are going to be taken like a thief in the night. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And right now, you have Donald Trump in the news making peace talks with all these different countries that they're at war with. And those countries, they're like, okay, we agree. We want the peace and safety. But us that are in the know, that have been given the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we know ultimately what this devil is doing. You know, he's putting all these people in a snare and trap, because these people aren't expecting World War III to happen. You know, they're not expecting all hell to break loose. So ultimately, when they see these things up on the news, you know, for them, it's like, okay, then there's not going to be any World War III. You know, everything's going to continue on as it is, but ultimately, that's the Heavenly Father putting that snare and trap on these people, so they can think themselves to be, you know, in so-called peace, which there is no peace. Like it says in the scriptures, you know, Yahushua came to send a peace. No, he came not to send peace, but a sword. And that's what's about to happen up on the planet Earth. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals, which means essentials, shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's what's happening. You got all these different plagues that are going on around the planet Earth, you know, mass shootings, natural disasters, but yet people think that it don't mean nothing. They don't think that all these different signs that are being shown by Yahweh Shemel Shine mean something. Ultimately, it means the end of his kingdom, the end of his empire. But the majority of the people think that they're in good case, you know, because they're still able to afford groceries, even though they're having to cut certain things out. You know, they're still able to afford rent. So maybe some people have to live somewhere else, but they're still able to afford these things. So in their minds, they're like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's just another 2008 crisis, and this is gonna come and go, and then it's gonna blow over. You know, maybe prices are gonna go down. But ultimately, what all this means is that the dollar is about to be done away with, because it's clear and evident. You know, because now you have gold at an all-time high, silver at an all-time high. So all that means is the uncertainty of the U.S. dollar. But majority of the people think that, oh, it's just going to blow over. But no. Ultimately, this is the end of the end. This is the last days of the last days. But majority of the people upon the planet Earth can't see it. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. That's what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to starve, and those who escape the famine, they're going to get put to death by the sword. And it even says this in the scriptures, you know, it's better to get put to death by the sword than by famine. You know, and that's going to be majority of the people here in America, Babylon the Great. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. And that's what's about to happen. You see all these major cities, Dallas, you know, LA, New York, you know, Miami, you know, Chicago. People think that all that commerce, all that traffic, and going to the 9-to-5s, and then going out on the weekends to take your family out to dinner, that's being done away with now, because people aren't able to afford to go out like they used to. You know, so ultimately, all these people that are so used to this daily routine, that's about to be done away with. And the reality of the scriptures, of the prophecies, they're about to be made true and evident. Because majority of the people, they don't believe that these prophecies are about to come to pass. Yeah, they see all the news, all the wars and rumors of wars, all the mass psyops, you know, the mass shootings. But to them, it means nothing. You know, that's why Yahweh Shemel Shai is ultimately just going to have to send that famine that's going to get these people's attention. Verse 24, and there shall be no man left. Verse 24, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. And that's what's happening. You know, you see all these farmers that are committing, you know, deleting themselves because their crops aren't growing, because they can't afford the materials to farm. Verse 25, the trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? So once all these people start getting put to death, you know, the nature is going to take back is you know, different areas throughout the city. There's going to be fruit trees growing, you know, around the city and around all these different, you know, countryside, But yet, there's no people that is going to be able to pluck them. Verse 26, the grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all the places shall be desolate of men. Verse 27, so that one man shall desire to see another and hear his voice. So that's how bad it's going to get. It's going to get so bad that there's going to be so many dead people that people are going to be wishing to hear another person's voice. But they're not going to hear it because they got so accustomed doing wickedness to participate in this society and doing whatever they want here in Babylon the Great. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is about to he's about to do away with all this Babylonian way of life. Going to work, going to the 9 to 5, consuming with the distractions and the bread and circus and not caring about what's going on around the world. The Lord is about to make these people pay attention, and he's going to make these people to pay attention through famine. That's what it's going to take for these people to finally wake up to what the hell is going on. But it's going to be too late. But that's pretty much the point. Pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who I learned this truth from who do it well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude. Unto you I say Shalom.